Hi, my name is Melvin. I'm the SAS from Singapore. Today we are going to demonstrate the Zetaplus installation procedure. So, first, the tools that you need is this adjustable spanner. That's all. Okay, here we have the housing base. Okay, for a standard 12-inch 16-cell cartridge. So you notice that this center post, this is a 10-inch center post, is available in 20-inch, 30-inch and 40-inch as well, with 40-inch being the maximum length. It is threaded on both ends, so just put a shorter threaded end at the center and screw it in. So just tighten. Okay, after that, use the adjustable spanner and make sure that it's secure. Okay, next, we need to put in this is called the baffle plate. The reason that we need this baffle plate is because if you notice at the base of the housing there is this hole. This is the inlet where the fluid enters the housing. It's entering at a certain speed, so if it comes into direct contact with the cartridge, it will result in damage to the cartridge. So this baffle plate is required to divert the flow of the fluid through the side of the housing. The baffle plate has both the depressed side as well as a protruding side. So this protruding side has to be facing down towards the base. And in the base, there is also a depression at the center so that this baffle plate will fit nicely. So just put it in like this and center it. Okay, next we need to put in the cartridge itself. So this is the 12-inch 16 cells cartridge. Either way you put in the cartridge will be fine. Just make sure that the seals are properly in place on both ends. So just put it through the center post and it should sit nicely in the center of the housing. Okay, next we have to put on this top protector plate. Okay. This top protector plate, as the name suggests, is to protect the cartridge from damage. This is more recommended for housings where there are more than one cartridge, 2 or 3 cartridges. The reason is because when there's an increased number of cartridges, when the operator places the dome back on the housing, he is unable to see the other side of the cartridge. So the housing might actually damage the cartridge if there was no protector plate present. Like the bottom protector plate, there is a protruding end as well as a depressed end. So this time the depressed end must face down and it will sit nicely on the protruding end of the cartridge. There's also a gasket here, so make sure that it's present and placed properly. The next thing is the sealing or locking nut. Here we see there are 2 different types. This is the older type, and we see that the spring is fully exposed. And this will be the newer type, where the spring is partly encapsulated in PTFE. They both work in the same way, so I will just show how the newer locking nut works. So align the thread to the center post and just basically screw it in. So tighten until you see that the spring is fully compressed. And once that is done, give 2 or 3 more rotations just to ensure that it is properly sealed. This is to ensure that there is no bypass of the fluid at any of the gaskets. Okay, the next thing we will put on is the dome O-ring. Okay. So this basically goes over everything on the edge of the base of the housing. So make sure that it's sitting properly in the center. And after that is done, you need to put on the dome, which is this. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, if the cartridges is very high, the operator is unable to see properly and he might just knock the dome onto the housing. So that will damage the cartridge. Also, there's the top protector plate. So once the dome is properly placed, the last thing is to put on the dome clamp, which is this. So basically it just goes around the edges, and this type is the swing boat clamp. Just tighten the clamp. And if you do have a mallet available, it is good to knock along the edge of the clamp just to ensure that it is sitting properly around the housing. So that's all. Thank you.